What is up, sage stuffing strangers, not sidesters. I just said I just said goodbye to the sidesters in our pre-show babble.
Yep.
So what's up, strangers? Welcome to another mediocre episode of the Strange Sessions. As always, I am Kurt, and I am joined across the table by my lovely co-host, Krista.
Hello.
How's it hanging, Krista?
It's hanging. Real low.
I can tell that you're like tired.
I am exhausted.
Not energetic. Mm-mm. Got some work stuff going on. She's very busy.
Yep.
I'm exhausted all the time, so I don't know. Work's going good.
That's good. Hey, if you don't want to listen to us complain about how tired we are.
That's going to be our next podcast, is just complaining
us being
about
tired all the time. No, I hope by the time season 2 starts, I will be through this stuff at work. Yeah, if you don't want to listen to this, we're going to do a taste test, housekeeping, etc. Hit pause, check the show notes. Timestamp of the topic start will be posted there.
Yep. Should we tell Jim?
Oh, yeah. Let me text him.
That's like 3 ramens in a row.
Poor Jim. He's like, I didn't sign up for this.
he's our ramen chef.
Yeah. He has to come down and get it, though.
Shout outs to our newest strangers, and those are Melanie McAvoy, Robin M. Williams, and Carlin Krasinski.
Ooh.
So thank you guys so much for joining the...
Yes,
welcome. It's weird because we haven't had anybody join the strangers in a long time, and all of a sudden, recently we had 3 people, so we're back on the upswing. Maybe
just in time for the season finale.
And for the last season coming up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not the last season necessarily, but the end of phase 1 of the Strange Sessions.
How many phases are there?
We don't know, because we don't even know what phase 2...
We're making this up as we go.
We're making this up as we go. We don't even know what phase 2 is going to entail. Oh.
Yeah, you can... Come on.
This should...
we are recording.
This should be the last time you have to be our ramen chef.
That's cute. So there's no more ramen for the season finale?
No.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's going to be good.
Okay,
yeah, I think
Jim
it will
says
be
it's
good,
going to be good. Oh,
babe. Oh, jeez. Can you bring the container down too? I have to take a picture.
I was going to... I was going to bring this up before we started recording, but now they get to hear our process, I guess.
Sweet.
So next season,
yes,
we said 20 episodes.
Yep.
What do you think about you and I each picking 2 topics that we want to cover before we end phase 1 of the Strange Sessions?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to, right the day after we release the finale, the season finale, I'm going to put the poll on Facebook in the Strangers.
Okay.
And the top 10 ones that people want us to do, we'll do. And then with the season finale next season, it leaves us with like 3 or 4 episodes that are kind of open in case we got something we want to talk about.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I like it.
So that way they're kind of picking the 10 episodes that they want us to do that we haven't covered yet.
Yeah. And I bought us a calendar.
And I think you want to redo Maura Murray, don't you? Because that would be a really good bookend from our
Speaking of, Danielle wrote us the sweetest email.
Yes, thank you, Danielle.
And she has a lot of notes on Maura Murray because she's like really, really into it. So you might take her up on that. But yeah, I got us a Route 66 calendar for 2026.
But yeah.
But if we're only doing 20 episodes, I think we should actually map out our schedule and build in breaks wherever we want them.
Yeah, because I'm going to open the poll from the day after the season finale comes out until December 31st. And then after that, it's closed, and then we'll know basically what the topics will all be.
Okay.
So, and what do you think about just saying, other than something super adult, we'll do whatever. We can do, it's a last season. We can do 9/11.
Sure.
We can do, if you want to talk
I want to steer clear of like politics though. Like I don't want to talk about politics.
Well,
it's
what
way
about COVID?
too hot of
I mean,
a
we could talk about COVID because that does get political, but it's also interesting. I'm fine with doing anything as long as like young strangers could listen to it. Mm-hmm. You know, and like I'm really fascinated by the Johnny Gotch disappearance, but then that involves like the Franklin scandal and groups of pedophiles and kids disappearing, you know, and that's a little...
think we just have to be careful to give a disclaimer first.
Yes.
We never do that, and we should.
No, yeah, but that
Although
one,
I don't think we really
for
dive
like
into
that
stuff
one,
like that.
I mean, it's not that it's super graphic and disturbing,
Just
but
the
it's
topic
just the
is-
topic
yeah.
of that. So maybe we'll just say we'll just open it up to whatever. If you want me to talk about the Stephen Avery stuff, I will.
I think we should talk about. I think that would be a good episode
Yeah.
to do in the last season.
I know that one of the two.
It's been a while since it happened, and
One of the two that I want to do that I'm using my 2 picks for is just a last Nature of Reality episode where we talk
Okay.
more about CERN, the Mandela effect.
cool.
Because I'm really like down the rabbit hole right now with CERN with that stuff and more time glitches and all that stuff. So I want to do that. Like I want to do Lake Michigan, the Lake Michigan Mothman.
Oh, sure.
But I'm pretty sure that would show up in the strangers' votes for
Yeah.
what to do. And I know you said Maura Murray, which I love
Bigfoot.
the idea of because it's a good bookend from the first season's
Yeah.
Maura Murray to the
I'll find either a Bigfoot encounter or
Or a
like
big-
an
or just a
infamous
general Bigfoot,
story.
yeah.
I'll figure something out for a
Bigfooty.
Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next episode in the season finale, Corey will announce the winners of the trivia contest. What else? We'll announce what the prizes are. I have a bunch of various gift cards at home, so some of those are going to go.
We have some hats we need to move. So
Yes, some merch. Is there anything else that I can think of? I totally forgot. Oh, and also this. So I'm glad I'm actually writing down housekeeping things now.
Yeah.
The Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We're going to record it next.
Oh, duh. We need to ask.
yeah,
for
the
questions.
next
Yeah.
episode when we do the season finale, because Corey's here, we're also going to do the Christmas episode, and we're doing again what we did last year, where you guys send questions to a specific email, and we don't see it, but Corey will ask us what you guys send. Kayla, you sent some good questions last time, so please send some more questions this time. But we're going to open that up, I think, probably after today.
Okay.
But I'll post that in the strangers too. But
Yeah.
after today,
Yeah, that was fun last
send us any questions you would like us to answer. And Krista and I won't have any idea what you're going to ask. So this will be completely off the top of our head. So please do that. Kayla, send more questions. And I never even talked about this in the last couple episodes, and I intended to, but I totally forgot, which is why I should write stuff down for housekeeping. I did that psychic test
Oh,
thing
yeah.
a couple weekends ago where...
I forgot you were doing
I know.
it. I saw
know.
it too late.
I
I
saw-
actually really wanted to try
Yeah,
it.
and I did a thing where I went somewhere. We had a specific time picked to see if they could tell what I was looking at or focusing on or listening to, and there were some kind of accurate responses. I remember Stephanie was pretty close, and somebody said they heard classical music, and I was listening to the Peanuts theme song, which is kind of a classical. So we might do that again over break, because I really like the idea of doing that. And I was looking at the Queen of Hearts playing card sitting in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot, because my original...
Did you plan that ahead of time?
No.
What exactly you were going to do? Or
No.
you pulled in, you're like...
No, because originally I was going to do the lion. We have a bubbler or a water fountain for people who aren't in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we
have
call them bubblers.
We have a bubbler in the Manitowoc Zoo that looks like a lion. And
Oh.
it's like kind of a famous thing
Okay.
in our area. So I was going to be focused on that, standing there focused on that. Turns out that was trick-or-treating day at the zoo. So I go there and it's just packed.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, crap. I'm like, now what? So then I went to the Piggly Wiggly parking lot and I had a Queen of Hearts playing card. So that's what I did.
Okay.
Here comes our ramen server.
Did you taste mine?
I tasted mine.
Oh. Oh,
What do
you
you
gave yourself a little?
What do you think?
It's alright.
Just all
It
right.
smells
With the
really
pumpkin spice
good.
one.
Oh, interesting.
It's got peas and corn in it.
Oh,
It's pretty
it actually does.
freeze dried.
But pumpkin spice one was better?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh. It smells good. It smells like
smells so
Thanksgiving
good, yeah.
dinner. Yes, this is the Thanksgiving dinner.
It's not gross at all.
Okay.
That's good. I'd rather it not be gross. Oh, it's all steamy. Are we jumping to the taste test now?
Maybe we let it sit for a second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Oh.
Babe. I called him Jim. I never call him Jim. That's
Are you
fine.
coming down to join us? Grab a seat.
Oh, thank you. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll let us search it. But no, we're going to do that psychic thing again, I think,
Cool.
over break, because I think it was really interesting.
He's singing to himself as he walks
Singing.
away. Okay.
But does that sound
Yeah,
good?
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Do we have any other housekeeping? While we're letting our ramen cool off.
I don't think so.
It smells so good.
It does smell really good.
exactly like
I
a
didn't eat
Thanksgiving
anything
dinner.
yet, so
I
I'm,
got to
like,
work
actually
Thanksgiving, but
hungry.
we have like the big spread of food at the
Nice.
nursing home.
I'll
And
be
I'm-
working too, but it's by choice. Actually, we're going up by my mom and brother for like dinner
you
and to
gonna work
watch
up
the
there?
football game.
Are you going to work up there?
No, I'm not going to work. I'm going to try not to work on Thanksgiving, but the day after I'll be home working.
Like I
not
told-
all day, but I'm going to work.
Yeah, like I told you before during the pre-show banter that I got 9 days in a row now of work coming up.
Yeesh.
But Thanksgiving, I'm loading up with stuffing and mashed potatoes.
Do you get extra for working on a holiday?
I think I do. I'm not really good with details like that. Somebody asked me what I'm making an hour, and I don't really know. I said,
Wow,
I
okay.
work, and I said every 2 weeks there's like more money in my bank account. That's all I really know. Are we ready?
I'm tired. Yeah, should
Yeah,
we taste this
We are
ramen?
both tired. Thanksgiving dinner.
It smells really good.
It does.
Not gonna
But Jim
lie.
said the pumpkin pie one was better.
Maybe it's just because it was more novelty. This is probably going to taste kind of just like ramen. But
You ready?
Yep. Well, it's hot.
I really like that.
It's so hot though. Oh my god.
It's super hot, but it does taste. It tastes like stuffing. It tastes like sage.
Yeah, there is definitely some savory herbs and spices in here.
I'm giving this a 10.
Yeah,
God,
kind of burnt my tongue a little.
cup noodles, people, you knocked
you
it out of
nailed
you
it.
knocked it out of the park with the Thanksgiving
Wow.
duo of
I think
pumpkin
that's
pie.
delicious.
And I think it is delicious.
This is
too.
like comfort in a cup.
I gotta stock up on more of these, man. I still have the s'mores one at home.
It says turkey dinner flavor with other natural flavors.
Well, there's peas
What
in
does
there.
that
there's
mean?
corn.
Are those
Usually, that usually
peas?
means MSG.
Are these actually peas? They look almost like green onions, actually.
Oh, it might be onions.
I think they're green onions.
Oh my God,
Yeah, that's amazing.
I really like this. Yeah, we got to come up with something good for our taste test for the. Oh, we probably need a Christmas one too.
We do.
Christmas. You're really liking this, aren't you?
I am, and I'm also starving.
I'm not. I had my McGriddle.
Did you get your? I was gonna say, did you stop at McDonald's?
Got a McGriddle meal and a sausage biscuit. $7. Can't go wrong.
Yum. That sounds good.
I love the sausage McGriddle. And right now it's $5 for the meal, so that's pretty good.
Is that where they use like pancakes?
Yeah,
Instead of,
like a
okay.
little pancake.
Gotcha. I'm not sure I've ever had one.
Oh my God, I'm in love with this ramen.
Yeah. I can't believe Jim actually was like not impressed.
He just woke up. So baby, he's just tired.
He's not thinking straight.
This is riveting for people, isn't it?
Okay.
I think we got another 10 seasons in us. As I'm apologizing ahead of time for this episode because I think it's not that great.
Oh, he always does that.
But this is the time of the season where I'm pretty much wiped out
Yeah.
of doing stuff.
I barely
Yeah.
do anything and I'm wiped out.
Oh, don't make me laugh. I'm choking.
Please don't choke.
If I had to pick a way to die, choking
Choking on
on
food.
ramen during a podcast, I'm kind of okay with that. I really am. Yeah. By this time of the season, I'm just wiped out. And this started out as something different because I intended to do a missing 411.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and it changed.
I was going to say, some of the pictures you sent, I was like, weird. That doesn't look like missing 411.
As so often happens, like went down a rabbit hole and
Sure.
oh my God,
That's delicious.
10 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 11.
I'll give it a 12 then.
Well, I'm getting... No, I'm just kidding.
So here's the thing for this episode. I literally spent my first day of research trying to figure out how to properly pronounce this place
Okay.
because I always called it Appalachia.
Oh,
and it's
multiple people call it something different.
And
if you're local, I think it's Appalachia.
So this came from Google. The pronunciation of this place can vary, but the two most common ways to say it are Appalachia, often used by those from southern Appalachia, and Appalachia, often used by those from northern Appalachia.
Okay. Interesting.
And I always call it Appalachia because it's IA. So I'm going to do my best not to call it that, but I'm probably going to screw it up.
I think I've always called it Appalachia.
I always called it Appalachia.
Then I saw people or watched videos or whatever where they're saying Appalachia, and I'm like, oh, okay, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. But it sounds like both are correct.
I'm going to try to stick with Appalachia.
Okay.
But I know I'm going to go into Appalachia, and I'm sorry about that because I know it's probably annoying to people that live there.
Well,
but I just went down the rabbit hole of this because I've always been like fascinated by that area.
Yeah, me too.
And like I was Googling pictures of it, and it's like beautiful in places during the day, but at night it's got like this creepy vibe to it. And I believe Hellier, like when they went to Kentucky with the when they went to look for those caves and stuff, that was Appalachia. And
yeah, you're gonna struggle with that, I can tell.
And I knew I had to do this when I started reading that book by Richard Chismar called Memorials, because it takes place in Apple. So I'm like, all right, that's a sign, that's a synchronicity that I'm supposed to talk about it. So Appalachia, I'm good. This is going to be a hard episode. Appalachia is a geographic region in the eastern United States centered around the Appalachian Mountains. It extends from Canada down to Georgia, and it includes portions of 13 states, with West Virginia being the only state entirely within the region. Geologically, it refers to a landmass that was eroded to form the mountains, and culturally, it is a diverse area known for its unique traditions, varied landscapes, and economic challenges. And it sucks because what do you think of when you hear Appalachian Mountains, like that area?
I actually think of the trail.
I think of hillbillies.
Yeah, that too.
Which is like a stigma that they hate because it's.
But like mountain people, illegal distilleries in the woods,
exactly,
and
revenuers and moonshiners.
Yeah, but I do think of the Appalachian Trail because that.
And I'll be talking about that quite a bit. Weird noises down here again.
Same noises we always hear, but they always catch me off guard. There's that refrigerator going through its cycle.
Some depictions of Appalachia in media have led to negative stereotypes, such as those in the movie Deliverance, which many locals find inaccurate and harmful. Have you ever seen Deliverance?
Once. Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody knows the banjo part.
The banjo scene. Appalachian folklore encompasses a wide range of supernatural tales, ghost stories, and superstitions, heavily influenced by its isolated geography and diverse cultural heritage from settlers. Key elements include infamous hauntings like the Bell Witch, mysterious creatures such as the Flatwoods Monster and Mothman, and local legends involving witches, banshees, and, of course, Bigfoot. The folklore often features themes of the uncanny, unexplained disappearances, and a deep connection to the natural and sometimes dangerous environment of the mountains. So I'm going to talk, I have a bunch of disappearances that are kind of missing 411-ish, and then there's a couple like paranormal creatures and stuff that we're going to talk about. So that's basically...
A common thing I see on just like social media or YouTube is... If you're in Appalachia and you thought you heard something.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, so that
ignore it, go in your house.
That goes from this website, growmylifestyle.com, from an article called, quote, Passed Down in Whispers, 15 Appalachian Myths and Mountain Oddities. Don't whistle at night. Nothing good whistles back. We talked about that, I think, in our Whistlers episode or something.
Or even mimics.
Yeah, whistling at night is asking for trouble, or that's what they say. You might think it's a harmless habit, but in the mountains, it brings things closer. Some say these are spirits, while others claim they are things that were never human to begin with. If a whistle answers back, you don't check. You close the door, lock it, and then sit down in silence. Never answer your name called in the dark.
Ew.
You hear your name called at night, don't answer, especially if you don't see who's calling.
You know, black-eyed kids used to be and Bigfoot, but now mimics are that thing that I like I don't. It creeps me out, but I love
Black
hearing
eyed kids
stories.
now or whatever. Like
It-
hop in a
yeah.
car, I'll take you where you want to go.
Yeah, to
know.
me, it's like
Mimics are my thing. That creep me
I've
out
really
because
gotten into that.
I don't
It's
know
just
if
so
I should
creepy.
I don't know if I should even say this
Why?
because I work stuff.
Oh,
Because of privacy stuff. But let's just say somebody I talked to had a mimic story
Oh,
and didn't
really?
know that was a thing. Yeah.
yikes.
So I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But yeah, so mimics are my fear now
They
too.
never fail to creep me out, but in that way that I'm like, ooh, tell me more.
Yeah.
I want
there was
another
one day at work this week, I swear I heard a male yell my name.
You said that before too. That's not the first time that's happened to you.
I thought it was.
You told me this a few weeks ago.
Did
I
I?
thought. Yeah.
No, and it was just this week where I swear I heard somebody, and I asked, I'm like, did somebody just call for me? And a nurse was there, and she's like, I didn't hear anything. So that's kind of weird. But yeah, mimics creep me out. Bum, bum, bum. Never, if you hear your name called at night, don't answer, especially if you don't see who's calling. The belief that it might not even be a person at all. Some say spirits mimic familiar voices to lure people in. You don't respond, and you certainly don't follow. Stay where you are. If it's someone alive, they'll knock or find you, not call you from the shadows. If something chases you into the forest, don't run or look back. Whatever is behind you doesn't need help finding you. If your gut tells you to run, ignore it. If you run, it will follow, and looking back will invite it even closer. Instead, keep walking, keep your head forward, and don't ask questions until you're home. That's easier said than done.
Oh my God. I was just thinking, hell no. I'm running and I'm looking behind me repeatedly.
If you're lucky, it loses interest. If you're not, you won't be telling anybody what you saw anyway.
Okay.
Be home by dusk, Grandma's safest hour. The rule is simple. Be home before the sun drops below the trees. Once dusk settles in, the woods belong to something else. This belief runs deep. It's not
That's
about
creepy.
curfews, but about protection. People raised with this wisdom don't waste time arguing. They watch the sky, keep an eye on the treetops, and get inside before the last line of sunlight leaves the porch.
The woods belong to something else.
I know.
That's
I love
it.
I
and
love it,
it's so
but it's also
creepy.
creepy. Yeah. Don't rock an empty rocking chair at night. The belief goes like this. When an empty chair rocks after dark, someone invisible is sitting in it. It could be a spirit passing through or something else entirely. Either way, nobody wants to find out. Rocking it at night invites whatever it is to stay. And the clicker.
This is the weirdest thing.
In mountain homes, this movement is treated as a sign to act. You stop the chair, don't joke, and don't ask questions. Moths indoors are loved ones visiting. Across the region...
Holy crap, I have a lot of loved ones visiting me.
Yeah, you
we have
do.
so many moths. Oh my God.
Across the region, moths aren't seen as random visitors. They signify that someone is thinking of you from the other side. The small flickering wings and the quiet way they appear are tied to memory and connection. Whether it's an anniversary or a birthday, their timing is rarely ignored. Most will tell you it's someone stopping by for a quick visit, nothing more.
Okay.
Leave a final apple hanging from the harvest. When the last apple clings to the branch, mountain tradition says to let it stay. That single fruit isn't forgotten or missed, it's an offering. Some say it's for the spirits who watch over the orchard, while others claim it's for luck to keep the trees giving. Pick every apple and you risk more than bad luck. You close the door on next year's harvest. Tying dog hair under the doorstop. Tying dog hair under the doorstop wasn't done as decoration, but as a defense. Folk belief held that hair from a loyal dog created a barrier against harm. Spirits, curses, sickness, none could cross where that charm sat. The trick was using dog's tail hair, not fur from anywhere else. It had to come from the strongest part of the animal close to the root. So
We've got that covered.
I was going to say, Lucy's got that covered. If a dog rolls onto its back, brace for death news before sundown. Dogs roll around all the time, but mountain lore says that when a dog rolls onto its back without moving, it means death is on its way. Not always, but often enough to count on. Mountain folks view it as a sign that someone will pass before dark. Families who know this sign don't explain it, they simply stay ready. When it happens, most folks make calls or wait for word. So,
Interesting.
Lucy ever flap over on her?
She doesn't just lay there though. She's usually being weird and rolling around. And, yeah.
If an owl peers inside at daytime, stay on guard. An owl seen in daylight isn't curious, but a warning. Day belongs to hawks and crows, but owls bring a different message. When one watches your house with its full face and unmoving body, something is coming, whether illness, loss, or bad news. You don't call attention to it or wave. You nod once and get back inside. That's how people stay safe. I don't know if I've ever seen an owl during the daytime.
Yeah. I mean, they're nocturnal, aren't they?
Yeah. Plus, there's the whole aliens owls connection.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yep. A bird inside the house predicts death.
Oh.
A bird flapping through the living room isn't taken lightly. Folklore says it's a sign that someone close to the household will soon pass. Whether it comes in through an open door or chimney, it is seen as a messenger. No one swats at it. Instead, they gently guide it out and start making phone calls. It's rare, but when it happens, people pay close attention. Make sure my mic is on here.
It's on.
Count stars at night to dream of your future spouse. If you count 9 stars before falling asleep, tradition says you'll dream of the person you'll marry. You can't speak after counting, and you shouldn't open your eyes again until morning. Some believe it only works once, while others say it works best under a clear late summer sky. Whether it's truth or tradition, the story continues, passed from mountain girl to mountain girl. Don't put your feet on the table. It invites misfortune.
It's also just kind of gross.
Putting your feet on the table isn't just rude, it's risky. In Appalachian belief, it brings bad luck straight through the floorboards. The table is where food is blessed and decisions are made, disrespected, and trouble finds a way in. Money issues, broken relationships, and small things may break without warning. Most don't explain why, and they don't need to. They simply keep their feet down. Don't open an umbrella indoors or invite death. Opening an umbrella inside isn't merely about bad manners, it's about bad luck. In Appalachian homes, it signals death within the household. This belief stretches back generations. Once opened, it can't be undone by closing it. The safest move is to never do it at all. Most won't even bring an umbrella near a doorway while it's still open. That's one that that's always with me. Like whenever I have an umbrella, I try not to have it open indoors anywhere. Even though I don't necessarily believe in that.
Yeah.
That's just a weird superstition.
I guess I do because how else is it going to get dry after you come in from the rain?
Yep.
I do think about it, but I'm also like, meh.
Yeah.
I don't want a moldy umbrella.
Exactly.
So.
And the last one, never sweep the floor through a doorway after dark. Sweeping dirt through a doorway after sunset isn't harmless. Appalachian tradition says it pushes good fortune out along with the dirt. Some say it invites sickness. Others believe it carries away luck right off the porch. Once it's gone, it doesn't come back easily. If the floor needs cleaning, wait till morning. That's how it's always been. Keep the luck inside and the broom pointed inward.
Okay.
So there are some Appalachian traditions.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It doesn't just have to be Appalachia. If you hear something mimicking somebody you know in the woods anywhere,
maybe just ignore that.
Just ignore that. And walk away, but don't run and don't turn and look to see what it is.
I don't think I could follow that rule.
Yeah. And one of the big parts of this area is, as you mentioned, the Appalachian Trail. So this comes from thetrek.com. The Appalachian Trail is a nearly 2,200-mile hiking trail through the Appalachian mountain range in the eastern United States. The trail travels through these different states: Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Holy buckets.
Yeah.
That's like the entire side of the country. The elevation gain or loss of hiking the entire Appalachian Trail is equal to climbing Mount Everest 16 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't
That's
that crazy
interesting.
that there's that much? But I mean, it's if you're walking 2,000 miles, any gain but that's just crazy. Less than 22,000 people have completed a successful through hike of the Appalachian Trail.
How many people?
Less than 22,000. And the Appalachian Trail has been a site of both murder and missing persons cases. And this is way lower than I thought, with a total of 13 recorded murders since 1974.
Actually.
But each year, an average of 6 people go missing on the Appalachian Trail. So
yeah, it definitely has a reputation for not being safe.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially for women, you shouldn't be doing it alone. Is what you're told?
You know, like this is where I was thinking about this with like our missing 411 cases or this. Like I have no frame of reference because I have never been in a national park.
No.
So what's really
we have one in Wisconsin?
What?
It is the Apostle Islands
National Park?
That's a national park.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. I just
I would love to
recently
see the
discovered
Apostle
that.
Islands.
Me too.
But I went down a rabbit hole. I wasted one day of research just going down a rabbit hole about the Ice Age Trail because Wisconsin
Oh, it's
has
so
its own.
cool.
Yeah, Wisconsin has its own trail.
It's beautiful.
It's 1,000 miles long, but it's only in Wisconsin. It like weaves up and down through the state.
Yep.
And a guy just did the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I just saw that on the news and I think on Facebook.
Yeah, the most
And-
dangerous thing you're going to run into is like a, what do we have?
Badger?
Cougars? No, bear.
Oh.
Once you get up
Yeah.
north, we definitely have a lot of bears.
But it's weird to me because
But
when
like
I was.
big cats. We have big cats in Wisconsin.
I've never seen a
I think
big
it's a
cat.
cougar that we have. Or mountain lion? I can't remember which one, but
It's
we
weird to
definitely
me
have
that
them.
my trail that I walk, I haven't walked in a long time, but because I do so many steps at
Oh,
work.
sure.
But my trail I walk on behind Aurora
Oh, that's-
Hospital
yeah.
is part of the Ice Age Trail,
Yeah.
and it's weird to think of that guy that did the entire trail was walking back
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and like
Goes up to Door County.
I can't grasp the idea of getting lost like people do because even on that when I'm on that trail, like a half mile in any direction, there's a road or a house or a building or a business. So it's, I mean,
when you
I've,
get into the kettles, though,
yeah,
that's
but
different.
I'm only used to my little area
Yeah.
there. And I did get lost the first time I went out there, but now I know it so well that, but so I have no idea what it's like to be in a national park.
Mm.
Like I have no grasp of what it's like to be in a place where you could get totally lost
Yeah.
like that. But like you said, the kettles, like Kettle Moraine,
Or when you get into the North Woods.
when you get
but-
into the North Woods, that's crazy.
I
But-
think the thing about the Ice Age Trail is that it's not fully connected. So there's like stretches
yes,
where
there's
you have
stretches
to walk
where you're
on
on
the
a road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're trying to figure out a way to fix that because
Mm-hmm.
some of the roads are like busy highways that you have to stay on. But
It's
like,
called the Ice Age Trail though because a lot of it is along where the glacier came
yes.
through.
Yep.
So it's really, really pretty geography.
It is. And it's our little version of the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
But it's really not that much smaller. It's just that it all stays.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Wisconsin's a long state.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure
top to
like
bottom.
there's a really cool. I think I've sent you pictures of it at Point Beach. There's a trail that I used to walk on that brings you to the lake where they have like a bench there. And that was one of my favorite places to go chill is that bench that looks out over the lake. And I think that's part of the Ice Age
Yeah, it
Trail
could
too.
be.
But it's cool. I don't think that many people go missing on our Ice Age
I don't think
Trail.
so.
But Appalachian Trail,
Totally different story.
totally different story. So now we're going to get into some missing people. And we're going to talk about, we've talked about this in several episodes. I guarantee that this will be a pick for next season is
Okay.
missing 411 stuff,
Okay.
which this was going to be. But just as a refresher from traditionallegends.com from an article called, quote, The Missing 411 in the Appalachians, Where People Vanish Without a Trace. The article says, Missing 411 isn't a formal law enforcement term. It's a label coined by David Paulides to describe a specific set of missing persons cases that defy easy explanation. They aren't standard search and rescue operations gone wrong. They are vanishings that share bizarre recurring details, including the following. No scent trail for search dogs to follow or scent trails that end mysteriously. Clothing or belongings found in strange, illogical locations. Victims found miles away from where they disappeared, often in terrain that would have been impossible to cross. Children found alive in conditions that they should not have survived. Bodies recovered with no clear cause of death. Sudden weather shifts that hamper search efforts.
That is a very common
That's a
one.
very common one. Disappearances near granite or boulder fields, which some people theorize may play a role, and often there's no explanation, no suspects, no final answers, just people that were there and then they weren't. So that's missing 411 in case you haven't heard us talk about that recently. So here's just a bunch of like missing people cases, and then after that we'll go into like some of the paranormal
I
stuff.
swear we've gotten half of our listeners through Missing 411.
We did. We did. And that's
we
why I
have to
feel
go
bad.
out on
I
the
feel
last
bad that this
season
was. Oh yeah.
with a Missing
I guarantee
411.
that there's going to be missing. That's going to be one of the ones that
Oh, yeah.
listeners pick.
For sure.
So here's just a bunch of missing people. This first one's not really super mysterious, but it's still weird. On the weekend of June 2nd, 1974, 29-year-old Wynant Hemi Moore was dropped off at the Mill Creek Lake area of the Natural Bridge State Park in Slade, Kentucky by his fiancée Ruth. He was looking forward to a weekend of camping, fishing, and being able to simply disconnect from the stress of his everyday life in Lexington, Kentucky. Was there even stress in 1974? On Sunday, Ruth returned to the area to pick up Hemi, but he was nowhere to be found. His disappearance was reported to park officials and local police. Once his disappearance became knowledge, 2 fishermen approached law enforcement about some items that they had seen around the Mill Creek area at around 2:30 p.m. that Sunday. A wallet, clothing, shoes, and a wrist brace were found and identified as belonging to Hemi. However, 2 blankets and a black zippered bag were missing. After he was reported missing, a large search was conducted. There were multiple bloodhounds as well as several local agencies, local law enforcement, and park services all combing the area as well as Mill Creek Lake for him, but despite all their efforts, nothing was found. To this day, there has been no sign of Hemi. He has a daughter that grew up without knowing her father. He has grandchildren. What could have possibly happened that weekend, and what happened to the 2 blankets and the zippered bag that were never found? Could something sinister have happened that connects their whereabouts? So that's that one. I don't know. There's not much there, but it's weird that some stuff was left behind, like the wallet, the clothing, the shoes, the wrist brace, but the blanket and all that was gone. And it was June, so I don't think that was June in Kentucky isn't a
hypothermia situation.
Hypothermia situation.
I think you'd have the opposite problem.
Yeah, you would think like heat prostration or whatever. Another one, Gladys Stella Kidd was last seen leaving her home on or around August 6th, 1990. She resided on a farm that lay along the CCC Trail in Moorhead, Kentucky, but the 71-year-old widow knew that it was a responsibility that she would no longer be able to manage. She shared her concerns with her children and her son and daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law had taken her house hunting in Moorhead, but she seemed completely disinterested. Little did they know, Gladys had already placed her farm on the market. She finalized the sale of her farm sometime prior to August 6th and afterward cleared out her bank account. The bank associate pleaded with Gladys to take a cashier's check, but Gladys insisted on cash. All in all, she had around $80,000 on her at the time of her disappearance, right? Gladys took all of her clothing, a filing cabinet, and the $80,000 with her when she left. Her car was found parked in town with the keys left inside. This alludes to her probably being picked up by someone. Now, it might seem like she was planning to leave, and all that may be well and true to a certain degree. However, Gladys had a secret boyfriend. When I say secret, I meant secret. This mysterious caller didn't want any of her family, friends, or church family to know his identity. The calls began a few months before her disappearance. However, if anyone answered the phone other than Gladys, he would hang up without a word and would call right back, at which point Gladys would jump in to answer the call herself. It wasn't unusual for her to leave immediately after hanging up. That's weird. She told her family that they did know her mystery man and that they would be surprised to find out who it was. The last time she was heard from was through letters postmarked in Lexington. She sent letters to her 2 daughters and her son. The letters she'd written to her son contained a part that said, quote, "Don't try to find me. I would just leave. Don't spend money trying. Love, Mom." The letter struck her children as odd. It was definitely her handwriting. It was definitely her familiar handwriting, but Gladys only had a 4th grade education. Yet the punctuation and grammar in the letters was perfect, and the way they were written wasn't characteristic of their mother at all. Her children thought it seemed more like she was being coached. Gladys,
I was going to use that word.
Were
coach.
you? I was going to say forced. Gladys loved her children, and she doted on her grandchildren anytime she could. She'd only been out of the state a handful of times, and it seemed unlikely to her family and friends that she would have just left without a word. The last thing she would have wanted to do was to cause them pain. Adding to the unlikeliness of her leaving on her own is the fact that her Social Security checks have gone uncollected, her driver's license had never been renewed, and her Social Security number has remained inactive since the day she vanished. In October of 2007, law enforcement brought backhoes to a location off of Moore's Flat Road in Rowan County. For years, they had wanted to excavate this particular spot, but whoever owned the property at the time would not allow them. Now, however, the land belonged to the bank, and they were more than happy to cooperate with the authorities, but unfortunately, nothing was found. As far as I could find, the identity of Gladys's secret boyfriend has never been discovered, and if law enforcement knows, they have kept closed lips about who it is. I can only assume that the location they excavated was provided in the form of a tip or some evidence they found. Either way, nothing has proven to be fruitful, and Gladys is still missing. That's a weird...
Couldn't they have looked at her phone records to see who was calling?
You would think.
I mean, it was 1990. It's not like we had burner phones back then,
No.
right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I didn't even think about that.
We had landlines.
Yeah, but you could call the phone company, I think, and find out who the incoming phone calls. See, you should be a detective.
It kind of feels, I mean, there are so many different possibilities. Like,
It feels like someone manipulating her to get that money
Yes.
and then killing her.
and they could have had her write those letters before she even disappeared, and then they just mailed them later.
Yeah,
as if
yeah.
she was mailing them.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it feels like she got bamboozled by someone.
I don't think
Like, why would she just want to disappear? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you the last time I drove around with $80,000 with me.
It's like she got catfished or something.
It was very, very likely, but she said that the family would be surprised because they knew
weird, yeah.
they knew who the secret boyfriend was. So I don't know. That's just
Why does it have to be a secret, though? There's something
why he would not say a
fishy
word
going
if somebody
on.
else answered the phone, and then he would call back, and then she would answer the phone, and then she would
Leave.
usually leave to go do something.
That's very weird.
I mean, it's not.
I'd be going crazy if I were that family.
Oh my God,
Like,
yeah.
wow.
Like you just suspect everybody that, especially when she said you'd be surprised by who it is.
Yeah.
So it's somebody that you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that.
Sure, that's why they didn't speak. They would have recognized his voice.
Yeah, yep. So another one is Jesse Hoover. This comes from a strangeoutdoors.com article called "The Disturbing Disappearance of Jesse Hoover from the Appalachian Trail." In May of 1983. Jesse Albertine Hoover was 54 years old and lived in White Settlement, Texas. On November 5th, when I was younger, I would have been like 54. She was old, and now I'm older than that, so I'm like, what a young buck. On November 5th, 1982, Jesse's husband, Eugene, was killed when he was hit by a car. The loss of her husband after 35 years of marriage was tough on her, and soon after, she began to talk about hiking the Appalachian Trail from Maine to Georgia. Years before, she had seen an article in a National Geographic magazine about the famous trek. Although her family was worried about her plans, she was adamant that the trail was fine for a woman her age. I know from everything
I'm not sure it's fine for a woman of any age to go by themselves, but when was this?
1982?
Oh, it feels like it would have been a lot safer then than it is today.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I can kind of understand that, actually.
Yeah, but how much safer was it back then?
I don't know.
You know?
The world felt like a much different place back then.
Yeah.
I guess part of the only reason it feels different is because of social media and like
cell
the
phones
internet.
and having like a cell phone with you, where back in 1982 you wouldn't.
Well, we're just like so much more aware of
The dangers.
the dangers
Yeah.
and the bad people, whereas back then you only were aware of what you saw on the news or heard by word of mouth.
Yeah. Yep. Jesse created a detailed itinerary of when she would arrive at major stops along the trail to pick up supplies and wire for money. She even made plans with her doctor to get refills of her epilepsy medication. On May 16th, 1983, Jesse headed south towards Maine and the 100-mile wilderness to the south of Baxter State Park. This Krista just squeaked.
That was very squeaky.
This wilderness area is so remote that hikers are warned to carry at least 8 to 10 days worth of food on this part of the journey.
Oh, wow.
That's remote.
Yeah.
That is not my little section of the Ice Age
No,
trail that I
no.
hike on. After Jessie failed to call the family to advise her progress on the trail, her sister reported her missing to the warden service on July 11th, my birthday, almost 2 months after she was last seen. At this point, they started a formal search. However, the investigation report says that Jessie was woefully unprepared with light clothing and only beef jerky for sustenance.
Oh my gosh.
Sustenance. Yeah, you need a little more than that. At the time of Jessie's disappearance, hikers entering and leaving the 100-mile wilderness had to pass through the old Abal Gatehouse on the Golden Road, a private road built by Great Northern Paper Company in early 1970s to carry logs to the local mills. An attendant there remembered Jessie in late May of 1983 and that she had gone towards the trailhead of the 100-mile wilderness on the other side of the bridge. That was the first and last time the attendant saw her. The potential search area was around 15 million acres. That's crazy.
Big.
And within it, there were hundreds of miles of trails on which Jessie could have become lost. Because of the density of the trees, the amount of vegetation, and the fact that some areas of the main trail are not that well marked, it can be easy to lose your bearings and become lost for days. Northbound Appalachian Trail hikers were questioned all that summer whether they'd seen Jesse, but none said they had. May temperatures regularly hit lows in the 40s and 30s, causing potential hypothermia, and when Jesse disappeared, there was light rain at times. Park rangers never found a body, clothes, or her blue backpack despite having a large-scale search operation in place for another hiker in the same area at the same time. Rangers said, quote, "We went over the woods with a fine-tooth comb. If she was there, we would have found her. We don't ignore people in the woods." It was strange to the rangers as there was not one clue. She simply vanished from the area. Nearly 40 years since she disappeared, no trace of Jesse had ever been found. Jesse was ill-prepared to tackle the wilderness in Maine, especially on a solo hike. Lots could have gone wrong. Hypothermia, disorientation, running out of food, accident, seizure caused by epilepsy, and maybe even foul play. It's a wild, rugged, and remote place, and the best advice would be not to tackle the Appalachian Trail as a solo hiker.
Yeah.
Especially
with a medical condition and being so underprepared.
Yeah, and I was like, they said they searched it with a fine-tooth comb, but 15
million
acres?
Right.
That's a heck of an area to search, you know. I don't know. Part of me would love to see the Appalachian Trail, but not to, like, do it. Mm-hmm. You know, and the people that camp
I'm sure there's stretches that you can hike that are just like a day hike or something.
Oh, I'm sure there are. But then, like I said, pictures of it just look beautiful where you're passing through these fields and stuff. And then at night, it just looks creepy and weird. The next one is Claude and Sue Shelton. This comes from a lostandfoundblogs.com website from an article called 2023 Claude and Sue Shelton, Accident or Abandoned. The article says, life was quiet and seemingly uneventful for Claude and Martha Sue Shelton. Claude had worked as a mechanic at the Owens Tire and Muffler Company in Corbin, Kentucky, I believe, for 10 years while Sue stayed at home and looked after the children. They were the parents to Sheila, 10 years old, Ronnie, 8 years old, and Debbie, 7 years old. The family of 5 all lived together in their trailer at Jerry's Trailer Park on 18th Street in Corbin, Kentucky. Life was seemingly good until it wasn't. On Friday, May 28, 1971, the Shelton family had gone to see Claude's mother, Tempe Ellswick, in Williamsburg, Kentucky, about 17 miles from Corbin. It was a nice visit and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They arrived back in Corbin that night after dark. The children were then tucked into bed, but what would happen that night would change this young family forever. The Sheltons' oldest child, Sheila, had not yet fallen asleep. She heard her parents talking and was curious, so she listened closer to hear her father say to her mother something like the phrase, quote, "If you're going with me, you better come on." The next morning, the children awoke to find something they didn't understand at all. Their parents were gone.
How old was this girl?
Sheila was 10.
Okay.
Yeah, the father said, "If you're going with me, you better come on." And they woke up and the parents were gone. Sometime that morning, Claude's boss at Owens had come to the trailer park to see why Claude wasn't at work. He normally worked a half day on Saturdays. It was then that people were alerted to this bizarre scene and the police were called in to investigate. According to a newspaper article, the children were taken in briefly by friends of the couple until the school year ended. Ultimately, Sue's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Conley Hunley, would come and get the 3 grandchildren and take them to their home in Knoxville. Police and anyone who knew the Sheltons were shocked and had absolutely no idea where the couple could be. After hearing the final words that Sheila overheard, it made even less sense. The couple had left the trailer in their 1967 two-door white Ford Galaxy 500. Some reports say that Sue's purse was left behind, while others say it wasn't. The couple, from what everyone could tell anyway, took no belongings with them on their late-night trip. There was a huge search for the Corbins. The Civil Air Patrol Squadron and rescue squads from 4 towns searched the area. The Laurel River Lake was being created around that time and was a source for some of the searches. Even with all the investigating and diligent effort by law enforcement, there was absolutely no trace of Claude and Sue or their car. The case grew cold very quickly. This case would get a little more attention in 2009. Turns out that female remains that were found in Oregon in August 1971 loosely resembled that of Sue Shelton. The female was initially referred to as Annie Doe. She remained unidentified for decades. Then, when DNA testing became available, police contacted Debbie and Sheila to get a DNA sample to compare it to the unknown remains. This visit came just a few weeks after the daughters had lost their grandmother, Sue's mother, and it was hopeful this was a sign that would lead to the closure in their parents' disappearance. However, after the DNA testing was finished, it was announced that the remains belonged to Annie Marie Lehman, a 16-year-old who had disappeared under troubling circumstances in Washington state in the winter or spring of 1971. One theory is that the Sheltons may have accidentally driven into water nearby, which happens.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just happened a couple of years ago where like somebody was looking at a Google map or image of a pond or something, and they saw what looked like a car in there, and they went in, and they found somebody that had disappeared like this, that it must have just driven into the pond, which is crazy to me that people go out like that, you know.
What a scary way to go.
Yeah, tell me about it. As stated, the Laurel River Lake was being constructed from 1964 to 1974. It's listed as being 279 feet deep. If the couple did drive into the lake, they have never been found there despite numerous searches. Another theory mentions that the Sheltons might have met with foul play. It's not verified, but there were reports of an abandoned car with its hood up found on or near the town near the town that night. It has even been mentioned that it might have been stolen. This could mean that Claude, being a mechanic, may have stopped to help a motorist and possibly met with violence that night along with his wife. But you would think they would have found
Something.
that car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about who my main source is for this article. It was Debbie, the Sheltons' youngest daughter. Although only 7 when her parents vanished, she has been living with this mystery practically her entire life. Debbie does not think that the real story has been put out there and that no one has really cared over the years. I feel it's time for the Sheltons' children's opinions to be heard. The Sheltons' children are adamant that their parents left simply because they wanted to. Debbie was already asleep that night, but Sheila and possibly Ronnie heard their father and were convinced from day one that they wanted to leave. Debbie wasn't told this by her siblings until she was in her 20s. She was asleep that night and didn't hear her father's words. And at first she was surprised, but the more she thought about it, the more it seemed like the only logical explanation. But of course, nothing is logical about this case.
What parents just decide
Right?
to walk
That's
away
why
from
the
their
Sheltons'
kids?
children have chosen to keep their thoughts about this private until now. Their parents were a subject that was rarely brought up over the years, even between themselves or other family members. They also wanted to protect their grandmother, Margaret, who had raised them. They knew how painful it would be if she thought Sue had abandoned her own children. Sadly, she passed away on Mother's Day in 2009, mourning her daughter every day. With her grandmother gone, this is one of the reasons why Debbie finally felt comfortable in speaking about the disappearance. As far as my thoughts on this case, I'm really not completely convinced either way. I have a hard time believing that the Sheltons, who had lived in Corbin for many years, would be unfamiliar with the area and accidentally drive into a huge body of water. The foul play aspect is certainly a possibility, but then I'm surprised that no trace of them or their car has ever been found in 50 years of searching. As far as them leaving their children, at first we think no one would ever be capable of that. No reports of any abuse or mistreatment of their children were ever reported. Everyone had only kind things to say about Claude and Sue. But their actions that night just don't make sense. They spend the day and night with their children, get home late, tuck them into bed, and shortly after just leave. What would possibly be the reason? If it was to run a quick errand, why wouldn't they have done that with the children before they got home that night? The children say they have never left them late at night before. Debbie believes they may have left overnight to get a head start to wherever they were going, meaning that they wouldn't be discovered missing for many hours. She also wonders if the trip to their grandmother's that night was so their father could see his mother one last time before they left. I also want to mention that it would have been easier to disappear if you wanted to in 1971 than it would be today. There were rumors that the couple had a jar with money in it. Even though the children never saw any jar with money, it's possible that it existed and was hidden. If it was there and was taken that night, it might bolster the theory that the couple had a plan to leave their life behind and brought the money with them to assist with that. Without finding some evidence of the Sheltons and their car, or evidence that existed past 1971, evidence that they existed past 1971, we will never truly know whether the night was an accident or abandonment.
Were they ever legally declared dead?
I believe so. I don't remember.
Because it makes you wonder, did they... Was it a fake their death situation so their kids could get insurance money?
I don't know. I didn't come across that in anything, but I have a very hard time thinking of them just up and leaving their kids.
Yeah, people do it, though. It is messed up.
Yeah, it is, but it sounds like there would have been some history of them being uncaring or abusive, and there wasn't any history of that.
Or were they poor? Did they have major financial strain and they were thinking they were actually, like I said, if they were going to fake their deaths so that kids could get insurance money, they'd be leaving them better off.
I feel like they would have
financially.
maybe said something to their parents about that, you know?
Or this would have come up somehow in the
yeah.
article.
Or why was the car never found?
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. That's just a weird one. But with him saying, if you want to, what was his exact phrase that she said? The exact phrase was, if you're going with me, you better come on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just a weird, I don't know what to make of that. This one is weird too.
It does make it sound like she wasn't sure.
Yeah.
She was hesitating.
But I can't imagine people leaving. But like you said, people do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is Eloise, E-L-O-I-S-E. I never hear Eloise.
E-L-O-I-S-E.
I-S-E.
I've never heard of it spelled that way, but...
Eloise Lindsay, age 22.
I like that name, Eloise.
I do too. What year was this? Rats. I don't remember. I don't know if I have in here what year this is. Entertainer listeners.
Didn't you just say it?
She was age 22, but I don't
age
remember.
22. I was thinking you said 1972 for some reason.
I couldn't find a lot about this. There's a newspaper article that was like I put the picture in the teaser.
Oh.
There was a newspaper article. Oh my God, I don't know what year this happened.
Looks like it's sunny outside.
It's supposed to be a pretty nice weekend, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad we have good weather for the walk we're doing tonight.
Yeah, it would be miserable in the rain.
Mm-hmm. It was nice last year. It was a little chilly, but we had
Oh my God.
no snow or rain.
All right, I don't know what year this happened. I can't find
That's
it anywhere.
okay.
But anyway, Eloise Lindsay. This comes from Deseret News. A hiker lost for 2 weeks in rugged South Carolina wilderness may have hid from a search party because she believed she was being chased by men intending to harm her, authorities said. Walt Purcell, Anakie County Emergency Preparedness Director, says, quote, from the very beginning, before the search was initiated, she had become frightened or paranoid that somebody was trying to run her down. We feel that she had wanted to come out and be rescued. The opportunity was there numerous times, but she didn't take it. Although the hiker, 22-year-old Eloise Lindsay, insisted Tuesday that men had been chasing her along the trail, authorities said they have no evidence and no plans to investigate any further. I know, that's basically them telling her to shut up. Officials who interviewed the backpacker said the most likely scenario is that she became frightened and panicked when she saw hunters and later thought her rescuers were the same men chasing her. Tim Morgan,
I could see that,
Tim Morgan,
I guess.
assistant sheriff of Pickens County, says, quote, we don't believe anybody was chasing her. On Monday, 2 days after authorities called off the search that involved more than 100 people for 7 days, Lindsay was found by a deer hunter a few miles north of the 43-mile Foothill Trail in Table Rock State Park. 6 months out of college, Lindsay told reporters she had gone backpacking to think about what to do next with her life, as you do. Mm-hmm. She said she left the main trail and got lost when she sensed she was being followed by men. She says, quote, I could tell there was no good intent involved. I used instincts like a deer, she said, adding that the men carried walkie-talkies and she could hear them talking about her. Lindsay, who began the hike alone on November 4th, first began to fear she was being tracked by area construction workers on November 7th, long before she exhausted her 7-day food supply. Oconee Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy James Singleton said he believes that Lindsay heard workers talking over walkie-talkies amplified through the speakers in their trucks, and she thought they were discussing her. Lindsay said later she knew rescuers were searching for her, but she said that she still believed these other men were trailing her. The hiker, who suffered infected blisters on both feet, cuts and abrasions, recalled her ordeal under a tree wrapped in yellow ribbons outside her parents' home in Atlanta. And the story, this didn't come up in this article, but another one said that when she was off trail, trying to get away from these people, that she found a hidden cache of pound cake and donuts. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Eureka.
Yeah. That's
weird.
I'll actually read this newspaper article now because I couldn't find a whole ton about it, but that was this picture where I put it in the teaser.
Okay, that's what I was
where
thinking
the guys
of,
are
carrying her.
The article says, was she paranoid or prey? Eloise Lindsay remained unshakable Tuesday in her belief that men chased her for 2 weeks along the mountainous Carolinas border, but authorities who searched for her have discounted the story and said they have no plans to investigate any further. Miss Lindsay, who was missing for 2 weeks until she was discovered by a deer hunter Monday morning, returned to her Atlanta home Tuesday after spending the night in a South Carolina hospital. The 22-year-old Agnes Scott College graduate said her ordeal began on the 4th day of a solo hike on the Foothills Trail when she became aware of men with walkie-talkies following her, and she said, quote, talking about me.
Can you see a date on that picture?
No. Nope. There's no date on that.
It looks
article.
pretty old, though.
I think it doesn't look that old. I think it looks like
it's
90s.
so grainy and black and white. That's what I mean, though.
But
It's not like from the 2000s.
Yeah. But she said that she heard the men talking about her. They may have been hunters, the slender brunette told reporters in her parents' front yard. She said she heard the men make vague statements referring to a woman, quote, walking fast up the hill ahead of them. But that is creepy to think that maybe she was being trailed by guys.
Nobody believes her.
Yeah. That is
and what
really
evidence
creepy.
would you have?
None.
Like they say there's no evidence. Well, what would you have?
Yeah.
Unless you had pictures of them or video of them or other eyewitnesses,
whatever their motives were, I could tell there was no good intent involved, she said. She said she dropped her backpack and spent the next 12 days enduring cold and hunger along with fear born of her conviction that the men were pursuing her. Nonetheless, she says, quote, I knew I wasn't going to die. But South Carolina authorities say they found no evidence indicating anyone was chasing Miss Lindsay, and they have closed their books on the case. So I don't know.
Does she have a history of overreacting or being paranoid or mental illness?
There's like surprisingly little about this. There was
why would she make it up? It's not like she was out of food and was like...
but I totally could see the argument that the people she heard on the walkie-talkies were the search party that were looking for her, which was freaking her out even more because they're talking about her. Yeah. You know? I don't know.
If she got paranoid and she was scared out there, I could see how it would all feed into it.
Oh, yeah. But she says, she knows people were looking for her, but she says these guys were still following her. And that's a creepy.
Yeah.
That is like a disturbingly creepy.
It'd be really frustrating to find out it was true and nobody believed her.
Oh, exactly. Just got a couple more missing people here. This one is a missing 411 case. I'm pretty sure these next two are. But this one I think we've even discussed in a previous missing 411, and this is the disappearance of Polly Melton. So this comes from a mentalfloss.com article called, quote, Woman at a Crossroads, when Polly Melton vanished from a hiking trail.
The name is familiar.
Yeah. The article says, quote, oh man, at 58 with a 2-pack-a-day smoking habit and high blood pressure, holy buckets, that's a lot of smoking.
Still going strong.
At 58 with a 2-pack-a-day smoking habit and high blood pressure, Polly Melton wasn't much of a sprinter, but I'm guessing. But on September 25th, 1981, while hiking with 2 friends on the North Carolina side of the Great Smoky Mountains, Melton suddenly began power walking ahead of her companions. One of them called out, quote, I wouldn't want to be in a foot race with you, Polly. Melton turned, laughed, and kept her quick pace. Soon she disappeared over a crest in the gravel hiking trail that wound through part of the mountains. When her friends came down the other side, they expected to see Melton catching her breath on one of the public benches. There was no sign of her, nor was there back at the campground where they had started from. In the coming days, Polly's sudden acceleration and subsequent disappearance would confound authorities and family alike. On a public path populated by visitors and one that she had hiked countless times over the years, Melton had managed to vanish without a trace. That's so weird. Mm-hmm. And it's weird that the Smoky Mountains is where Trini Gibson did the same thing, where she stopped on the trail and was like looking at something off the trail and stepped off the trail and disappeared.
Never seen
but
again, yeah.
That one I'm almost 99.9% sure was a crime. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of, and this is not, I'm like fascinated with the Smoky Mountain area. You know, like I would love to visit that. A retired school teacher, she and her third husband, Robert Melton, lived most of the year in Jacksonville, Florida. They spent from late spring to late fall parked at the base of the Great Smoky Mountains in Swain County, North Carolina. Their Airstream had all the amenities they needed, and the base camp itself had plenty of company. The campground was leased to a small cluster of 10 families and admitted new members only after careful vetting, kind of like a campers' homeowners association. There was plenty to do outdoors, but Melton kept busy in other ways too. Most weekdays she volunteered in town at the Bryson City Presbyterian Church Nutrition Center, where she handed out meals to seniors. She was also a caretaker for Robert, who at 78 was 20 years Melton's senior and in poor health. The two had gotten married in 1975 after they met while Melton was living at her father's trailer park property in Swain County. Robert was a co-owner. Due to his condition, Robert stayed behind in the Airstream when Melton accompanied friends Trula Gudger and Pauline Cannon for a hike on Deep Creek Trail. The 4-mile round trip, that's a long hike. The 4-mile round trip trek was too much for Robert, but Melton had done it plenty of times before. After preparing some spaghetti sauce for dinner later, she headed out. I love
That's
that.
it? Just spaghetti sauce?
Just spaghetti sauce and a straw. Gudger and Cannon would later be asked often about Melton's mood or frame of mind that day, but they both recalled that she was in good spirits. The three walked and joked, as they often did, with the two friends needling Melton about a man who appeared to be smitten by her at the nutrition center. Melton brushed it aside. That's kind of a red flag.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
At 4 p.m., roughly an hour in, they arrived at the halfway point of the hike and started to turn back. On one side of the gravel path was Deep Creek, a body of water that was shallow at the time due to drought. On the other was a steep ridge. The friends walked for approximately half a mile before Melton began to quicken her stride, speeding ahead and out of sight. Gudger and Cannon found it puzzling but not overly concerning. They assumed she was either joking around or might have wanted to get back to the campground quickly to check on Robert. But when they returned to the campground a short time later, Melton wasn't there.
That's weird.
Yeah. Feeling ill at ease, they went to the Airstream and asked Robert if she had returned. He hadn't seen her. They performed a cursory search of the immediate area. When that failed to turn her up, they notified the park rangers. They hurriedly provided a description. Melton was about 5 feet 11 inches and 180 pounds with brownish-reddish hair, a white and pink blouse, tan slacks, and glasses. To the best of their knowledge, she was carrying no cash or identification. By around 7 o'clock p.m. that night, a formal search was underway for Polly. There had been a handful of disappearances in the Great Smoky Mountains over the years, including 6-year-old Dennis Martin that we talked about in 1969 and 16-year-old Trenny Gibson in 1978. But it was rare. Deep Creek Trail was well-traveled and populated, and most visitors stuck to the graveled walking path.
It's a little boy, the one where they were playing like hide and seek. Their families were camping together.
This is, Dennis Martin is the one where, I think so.
And he just never came back from
and there were
hiding.
reports that somebody heard like a man yelling or talk. Yeah, that was like there, between Dennis Martin and Trenny Gibson, there's weird disappearances in that area. Most visitors stick to the graveled walking path. Polly wandering off into the dense woods seemed unfathomable. According to her family, she was extremely afraid of snakes. So you wouldn't see her trudging through the woods. Melton disappeared on a Friday. The search party grew over the weekend to include volunteers, park rangers, and bloodhounds. The dogs arrived at the spot where Melton's friends had lost sight of her, and then they began trotting in circles and howling as though she had simply ceased to exist. Very much missing 411.
Weird.
Both the dogs and the search party went a long way in convincing authorities that, dead or alive, she was no longer in the park. Park Ranger Chuck Harris told a reporter, quote, "We are just puzzled at this point. The trail she was on is well-traveled, and she apparently knew it well." While rangers and others searched for signs of Melton, police began combing through her personal affairs. Robert told her there was no issue in their marriage that would have prompted her disappearance. He was so distraught over the event he had to be admitted to a hospital that night for health issues. Nor could Gudger or Cannon point to any inciting incident or problems. The nutrition center was a different story. Speaking with Melton's supervisor, authorities learned of a few irregularities. For one thing, Melton hadn't signed up to work on Friday as she normally did. She was a volunteer and had no obligation to be there, but she usually called or informed the center when she was unable to come in. Her supervisor also recalled something odd about the Thursday before she vanished. She asked to use the phone multiple times, something she had never done before. When questioned, none of Melton's family members or friends could recall receiving a call from her that day. Whoever she was speaking to was unknown to them or unwilling to admit that conversations took place. A conversation with the pastor at Melton's church, Tom Harris, revealed that Polly had been somewhat depressed, but not in a way that caused him any great concern. He added that she had previously taken Valium, an anti-anxiety medication, and that years ago she had made a vague statement that he interpreted as her admitting she cheated on Robert. Police also noted that Robert told them his own prescription bottle for Valium was missing, implying that she might have taken it. The information did little to advance the investigation.
A lot of Valium floating around.
Yeah, the same was true of the ground search. After about a week, officials called it off. Their conclusion, there was no evidence Melton had gotten lost or forcibly removed from the trail. Her exit seemed to be the result of free will, but not everyone was convinced. Polly's family and friends didn't believe that she would simply leave Robert, who was eventually housed in a nursing home, nor would she have simply cut them off without notice. It was, they offered, just too out of character for her. Their suspicions leaned towards foul play. On the day of the hike, she was wearing a number of diamond-studded pieces of jewelry. They theorized someone on the trail might have spotted her walking alone and accosted her in a robbery attempt. This was an area infamous for drug deals known as Poke Patch. Perhaps she had crossed the wrong person. But Poke Patch was miles away from where Melton disappeared, and the general area where she was walking didn't afford a great deal of privacy. If someone had assaulted her or even tried to drag her away, it is likely that the struggle would have been observed or heard by other hikers. The environment wasn't a factor either. The temperature was in the mid-80s, warm but not stifling, nor did it drop overnight. The chances of her suffering either heat stroke or a bad chill were low. And while the park did play host to animals, rangers insisted that none were large enough to pull Polly out of sight. Once leaves have fallen from the trees and improved visibility, the park was able to dispatch a helicopter for an overhead survey of the area. Peering through the now bare branches, there was no sign of Melton's body, adding to the notion that she left voluntarily. A theory emerged that perhaps she had grown tired of caring for Robert and decided to simply up and leave. The trail permitted cars up to a certain point, and a parking lot wasn't far from where she was last seen. Further along, she could have arranged to be picked up at a crossroads and driven right out of her old life into a new one, possibly with the unnamed person she had spoken to several times on the phone the day before. But if anyone knew that for a fact, they stayed silent, even as North Carolina Governor James Hunt offered a $5,000 reward for information at the behest of her family.
Her behavior is weird.
Yeah.
Just walking ahead like that is just odd.
In April 1982, some 6 months following her disappearance, a check was cashed in Birmingham, Alabama. It was a check for bank certificate interest made out to Polly Melton. The bank teller couldn't recall the physical description of the person who brought it in. Given limited local resources, authorities were unable to hire a handwriting expert to compare their signature to Melton's. It was never established who cashed her check in her name. Melton wasn't formally laid to rest until 1991. Her sister Kit had waited until their father had passed, since he was adamant that Melton was still alive. Though Melton was declared legally dead in 1988, the National Park Service still lists her as missing. No one ever established whether she left the park or somehow disappeared inside of it. But there may have been something on her mind that day that made her aware that she was about to drop out of sight. Just before Melton disappeared over the hill, her friend said, she paused briefly and waved to them. So I don't know.
That's just weird.
Yeah.
Why would she not say anything?
I don't know. So that's Polly Melton. That's a weird one.
That is very bizarre.
Even if she crested the hill, would she have been able to sprint to where the car was without her friends seeing her? I don't know. That's just a weird one.
It's a very weird one.
I can't see her up and leaving her husband who needed care,
right?
But then these phone calls could have been anything, but it is kind of suspicious. So I don't know,
I'm really stuck on her just decide all of a sudden without saying a word.
Yeah.
Just walking really fast.
Like
ahead
sprinting
of them.
ahead.
It's weird.
And then turning and waving to them right before she crested the hill.
Without saying anything.
Yeah. It's a little weird. Yeah, so I don't know. That one's puzzling. And the last disappearance I have is Jeff Haig. On Saturday, February 7th, 1970, Eugene Smith led Troop 95 from Morristown in Tennessee with 3 teenage Boy Scouts named Lee Smith, Steve Wolf, and Jeff Haig out for a wilderness hike. Before returning home, they planned to spend a night in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina. There were also 2 other adults, Assistant Troop Leader Marvin Horner and Reverend Pitzer Lyons. Pitzer is a weird name. On the return hike, 16-year-old Jeff stopped for a rest at the junction of 2 trails and wanted to wait for fellow scout Lee Smith, who was following behind. Since it was only a few minutes before Lee was expected to arrive, the scout leader Eugene allowed Jeff to stay behind.
Oh, God, he'll probably regret that for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
I can't imagine that.
No.
So the rest of the group left him and returned to the parking lot, thinking they would meet again in less than 30 minutes. The rest of the scouts waited for him at the parking lot, but he never arrived. The weather took a turn for the worse, and snow began to fall. Temperatures were sub-freezing. A search ensued that included hundreds of searchers, including the Green Berets. And it's always weird when the Green Berets come in, like something. That's where we talked about that people that
Like
think that there's
FBI would
feral
show up.
humans,
Oh,
like kidnapping people, and the Green Berets would come in and fight them. Canine units from Sevier County, Cherokee, Philadelphia, Fort Bragg, and Seattle also showed up. His frozen body was discovered 10 days later with 1 boot missing, pants pulled down, and socks removed. His pack was 1,000 feet away, laying on a rock in the middle of the river with its contents scattered around the vicinity.
what is that called, though? Paradoxical
Undressing.
When you have
Yeah.
hypothermia.
And it's weird because one of the podcasts I listened to researching this talked about how this was almost like a bookend of a missing 401 case from California where a Boy Scout went missing and his knapsack was found on a rock in the middle of the river, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Blair Witch.
Well, yeah, exactly.
The rock in the
Yes,
river.
yep.
And,
Was this just a case of a misadventure in the snowy conditions caused by hypothermia and paradoxical undressing, or something much more mysterious? The Smokies have seen many strange deaths and disappearances over the years. Jeffrey Haig's disappearance was a high-profile case. He went missing in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park less than 8 months after Dennis Martin disappeared, and Dennis's father, William Martin, actually participated in the search for Haig. So that's
oh, wow.
that's interesting.
Interesting connection.
The scoutmaster was not puzzled that Jeffrey Haig left the group. The Tennessean, February 20th, 1970, states, quote, Eugene Smith, scoutmaster, feels the youth intentionally parted from the group to take the Boulevard Trail. He said that Haig and 2 other scouts got into a snowball fight the night before that Haig apparently got the worst of in the scrap and was disturbed after the 3 boys were reprimanded by Smith. Keith Nielsen, administrator of the park, says, quote, the boy obviously intended to separate from the rest of his party the moment he stopped at the trail junction to rest. There seems to be no question about that. Search and rescue concluded, based on the evidence they gathered, that Jeffrey Haig left the Boulevard Trail in an attempt to reach the US 441 highway. Which, why would you do
Why?
that? Yeah.
And how old was he?
16,
Okay.
I guess. But the theory is that he was upset because he got yelled at by the scoutmaster because of the snowball fight. So he decided just to go home and was going to walk.
Hitchhike or
Yeah,
what?
I guess. I don't know. Search and rescue concluded, based on the evidence, that Jeffrey left the Boulevard Trail in an attempt to reach a US 441 highway. Haig then changed his mind at the last minute in the rugged terrain and attempted to regain the Boulevard Trail, but did not make it. David Politis goes against expert opinions, saying, quote, you may hear some search and rescue people state that Jeffrey just froze to death. I don't think so. It's much more complicated. Did Jeffrey Haig die from exposure in sub-freezing temperatures? Yes. He died from exposure the day he went missing or the day after he went missing, according to the medical examination. Then we either trust search and rescue experts who participated in the 1970 search and the evidence they gathered, the county coroner who examined the body, and the county medical examiner who also examined the body, or the content creator who has not managed to explain a single missing person's case in 12 plus years, did not examine the body, and has no expertise or background in any medical field. Politis once again plays his, quote, no logical reason card. Haig's belongings were found on a rock in the stream, but that stream was narrow and shallow. The Johnson City Press on February 19th, 1970 states, quote, Monday, 8 days after he vanished, his pack, camping equipment, food, and extra clothing, exposed to view as the heavy snows in the area melted, were found neatly piled on a rock in the upper reaches of the rugged Walker Prong drainage area. The stream at that point was narrow and shallow. Searchers led to the drainage area by Army dogs from Fort Gordon believe that some 16 inches of snow fell after he was lost. That's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of
and
snow.
it prevented the equipment from being found earlier. So they make it sound like he decided to go to the highway and then decided to change his mind and then went back and either got lost or just succumbed.
Succumb to the weather.
But this was on Reddit. Somebody that's like the Missing 411 subreddit is so anti David Paulides.
Oh,
and
really?
Missing 4 very much so.
Interesting.
So this was
It
somebody's.
exists to just like poo-poo on
Yeah,
everything?
kind of.
Okay.
So this is somebody posting with a very skeptical statement. So this person says, very prepared and very experienced people die in the wilderness because of bad luck, bad decisions, or a combination of the two all of the time.
This is true.
A cursory review of journals like Accidents in North America Mountaineering provide an abundance of proof of this. This journal is not only fascinating reading, it is basically the anti-Missing 411 with its detailed descriptions of how things can go terribly, irretrievably wrong very quickly when you are in a wilderness environment. No Bigfoot or UFOs needed. There are a number of counts of the decades of deaths or disappearances, just like Jeffrey Haig's, where someone made a split-second bad decision in anger, impatience, enthusiasm, or fear that started a chain of consequences that couldn't be stopped and led to tragedy. It's especially likely when someone chooses to separate from their party, as Jeffrey seems to. That's often the decision that starts the failure cascade. Stories like Jeff's are not uncommon or inexplicable, like Paulides insists. In fact, they are sadly all too common, and as your excellent post shows, they can be very thoroughly explained. And in my opinion, the true story of what happened to Jeffrey Haig, a teenage boy hurt and angry over being reprimanded by his scoutmaster, deciding to leave his group and just try hiking overland, presumably to catch a ride back home on the highway, and who paid for that decision with undoubted fear and suffering and eventually his life as he slowly realized just how bad his predicament was and fought to survive, is so much sadder and more haunting than any of Paulides' BS campfire ghost stories.
Yeah, the irony of a Boy Scout who's supposed to be trained to survive in the wilderness. There's this YouTube channel called Kyle Hates Hiking, and spoiler alert, Kyle's actually an avid hiker. But it's all about people who either went missing or died, and it's sometimes it's true crime. Overwhelmingly, it's just poor decision making by experienced hikers.
Yeah, and I know next season they're going to vote that we're going to have a Missing 411.
Sure.
Where we'll maybe wrap up what we think about it. And, basically, I think a lot of them can be explained, but there's some that are just weird. Mm-hmm. There are some, like the Polly Melton one is weird. Can it be explained? Sure, weird. Maybe she met this
Multiple
guy.
Multiple explanations.
Maybe she met this guy, but it's just, you don't know. And there's so many weird circumstances around it that I like David Paulides. Like, I love the Missing 411 books. When there's one that I'm super interested in, I try to do further research to find if things are different, but I love the Missing 411. I believe that a lot of people do mysteriously go missing, but not all of them mysteriously go missing.
Well, and as we've said 100 times, at least he's bringing their story out and keeping it alive.
What time are we looking at here?
An hour and a half.
Oh, dang. Well, I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip one of these. Yeah, I'm definitely going to skip. I'm going to skip the Brown Mountain Lights because
I keep smelling the
ramen. I'm going to skip the Brown Mountain Lights because they're just, it's like the Paulding Lights where it's mysterious.
Well, I've heard about the Mountain Lights. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there about that.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like that's mentioned in Hellier.
Okay, I'll talk about it. It's not that long. So, I'm going to read this. AppalachianMemories.com says, the Appalachian memories, long shrouded in mystery and folklore, have become ground zero for a viral new wave of conspiracy theories that claim the region hides secret alien bases and government cover-ups. Fueled by viral posts on X, amateur UFO hunters, paranormal enthusiasts, and influencers are flooding into rural communities in search of extraterrestrial truths. This is kind of what Hellier is doing.
Speaking of, they've been talking about season 3 a lot.
I know. I'm excited.
I am hoping that's going to come out in 2026.
And they're bringing their cameras, drones, and high expectations with them. Stories of strange lights, eerie hums, and shadowy figures in the mist have long been part of Appalachia's oral history. But recently, these tales have morphed into something more sensational, a series of viral X threads, some racking up millions of views, allege that deep within the isolated hollers and mist-covered peaks lies a hidden network of underground alien bases guarded, they say, by covert government operatives and disguised military installations. One post, now shared over 100,000 times, features blurry footage of pulsing orbs over a stretch of forest in eastern Kentucky. Another map outs supposed no-go zones near obscure military bunkers in West Virginia and Tennessee. Commenters debate whether these sites are covers for secret alien tech testing or if Appalachian communities are unwitting hosts to decades-old extraterrestrial alliances. So there's a lot of people that think there's something going on there. And this is just a mishmash of some paranormal stuff from there. From the wanderingappalachian.com, the article says, the Appalachian region is home to a rich blend of folklore and Native American legend. Stories of creatures said to roam the mountains or portals into other realms are part of local storytelling traditions. Some cryptid enthusiasts believe Bigfoot and other undiscovered creatures stalk these forests. The Cherokee Nation has a long and fascinating tradition of oral storytelling. One of their legends that have been passed down through stories over the generations is the tale of Spearfinger, a monster and witch that roams southern Appalachia. I don't ever want to run into anything.
No.
Sounds like they would pal around with Pyramid Head.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't want to run into anything named Spearfinger.
No.
Spearfinger, Utalunta, is said to live in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. The word is Cherokee for, quote, the one with the pointed spear. According to legend, Spearfinger has a long, sharp finger on her right hand that resembles a spear, hence the name. She uses this sharp finger to carve out the livers of her victims and eat them bloody and raw.
The livers.
The livers.
Okay.
In an interview...
Cook up any onions or something?
I don't know. In an interview with WATE News, Cherokee storyteller Kathy Littlejohn describes Spearfinger as being covered in a rock-like skin, something that no spear or arrows can penetrate. Her only weak point is the very tip of her spear finger where her heart lies.
What?
Given that description, Spearfinger doesn't sound like a being that has your best interest in mind. But she gets even more eerie because Spearfinger is also a shapeshifter. She could take on the shape of someone you trust, someone who looks completely harmless, and then lures you in and slice, you're out of a liver, my friend.
Slice.
Since
Chop, chop.
Spearfinger is made of stone, she sounds like thunder as she walks through the mountains, crushing rocks along the way. She is said to spend a lot of time lurking around Whiteside Mountain in southern Jackson County, North Carolina. We should go hunting Spearfinger.
Nah.
No? You're good?
Nah.
Rocky Mountain Lights. I'll just touch on this quick. From the collector.com or the collector.com, and I added an O. Don't ask me why. The collector.com article called The 6 Appalachian Folk Stories That Will Keep You Up at Night says, quote, over 2 centuries ago, eerie ghost lights began appearing over Brown Mountain in North Carolina. The first eyewitness to report the lights was a German engineer, John William Gerard de Bram, who wrote of lights over the North Carolina hills in his journal in 1771. Following his account, several legends about lights over the mountains were passed down. Many who have seen the lights say that the glowing white orbs dance over the hills soundlessly until they silently dissipate or explode over the rolling peaks. It sounds like the Paulding lights with them flickering and then... In 1922, the United States Ecological Society investigated the Brown Mountain Lights phenomenon and decided that the lights were simply car headlights or lights of passing trains. However, this was disproven after a massive flood wiped out all the roads and tracks on the mountain, and the lights still appeared. I hear very conflicting things about that. Some say that after that happened, the lights didn't appear until roads came back, so I don't know. There are
Until roads came back?
Until they rebuilt the roads.
Yeah.
There are many theories about the Brown Mountain Lights with as many Appalachian folk stories. However, the most common story is a story told by Native Americans in the area. Cherokee legend claims that there was a bloody battle between Catawba and Cherokee warriors on Brown Mountain. Mothers, widows, and sisters set out into the mountains after the battle was over, carrying torches to search for their loved ones. This explains the glowing lights as the spirits of the Cherokee women who are still searching. Legends aside, Forest Service officers and scientists from Appalachian State University have also observed the lights in recent years. Current scientific theories about the lights speculate that they could be caused by natural gases on the mountain or ball lightning. Whatever the brown mountain lights are, they can be seen fairly regularly in North Carolina, most often during the night between September and November. So I would love to see them. Same
Yeah.
with the Paulding lights, even though,
You can find videos of them.
yeah, even though, chances are they're just like some weird reflection of lights. Like I'm not a big fan of lights, like the Paulding lights or the Northern lights, but I still want to see them. And this next one I think we talked about, but it's really interesting. And then I got one more after that. So we're just about done.
Okay.
Hidden deep in the... Wait, where does this come from? From a website called beastofbladenboro.com. Hidden deep
That's
in
a
the...
mouthful.
It is. I think we've talked about this. Hidden deep in the piney backwoods of Chatham County, North Carolina, there is a place where the forest abruptly opens into a perfect circle of bare, lifeless earth. This spot, known for centuries as the Devil's Tramping Ground, has no trees, no grass, and no signs of plant life at all. It's a hauntingly precise patch about 40 feet across where countless visitors have come away convinced that something far beyond the ordinary is at work. For locals, the Devil's Tramping Ground is more than a curiosity. It's a piece of living folklore. Stories of the site have been passed down for generations, growing and changing, but always carrying the same core mystery. Why is nothing allowed to live here? The first thing visitors notice is the perfection of the clearing's shape. The circle is so symmetrical that it seems deliberate, as though carved into the earth by some unknown hand. Around its edges, pine trees grow thick and healthy, but the center remains stubbornly bare, the soil looking dry and strangely pale. Many who've stepped inside the circle describe feeling a strange unease, an instinctive discomfort that can't be explained by reason. Some claim they feel watched even when they are alone. Others have reported that electronics sometimes fail or act strangely when brought into the circle. The most famous legend says that the devil himself visits the spot every night. After midnight, he begins pacing in a circle, deep in thought as he plots his mischief for the coming days. His heavy, supernatural footsteps scorch the ground so thoroughly that no plant can ever grow there.
I feel like this is so familiar.
Yeah,
We've
I think we
definitely
did
talked
talk about this. Locals say that if you spend the night inside the circle, you may hear those footsteps yourself, slow, steady, and impossibly close. That's a no.
It just feels like a bad idea.
Yeah, even if you see no one. In some tellings, the devil's shadowy figure is glimpsed briefly before vanishing into the night. While the devil legend dominates, some historians and storytellers trace the mystery even further back. According to certain accounts, the site may have been considered sacred by Native American tribes in the area. Some people suggest it could have been a place of ceremony, possibly used for fire rituals or burial sites. In these interpretations, the ground isn't cursed by the devil, but instead marked by centuries of spiritual energy that still resonates today. The stories of unexplained happenings aren't limited to footsteps and feelings of dread. A recurring claim from visitors is that personal items left inside the circle overnight will be mysteriously moved. Campers tell of shoes disappearing from beside their tent, only to be found neatly placed outside the circle in the morning.
Ooh, that's weird.
Yeah, others have reported that heavy items, coolers, chairs, or even rocks were shifted during the night with no tracks or signs of disturbance. There are also tales of animals refusing to cross into the clearing. Dogs brought to the site often stop at the circle's edge, whining or growling, and refuse to step onto the bare ground. The Devil's Tramping Ground continues to draw paranormal investigators, folklorists, and thrill seekers alike. Some come for the history, others for the adrenaline rush of camping overnight in one of North Carolina's most haunted places.
I just snorted. Oh my God.
In recent years, the site has been featured in books, documentaries, and ghost hunting television shows. Despite the attention, it retains its raw, rural eeriness, a place that feels disconnected from the modern world the moment you step into it. I would love to see this place, not at night, but I would love to visit it during the day.
It's fascinating.
I came across a newspaper article where who writes newspaper articles?
Journalist,
where the journalist spent the night in a tent in the middle of the circle, and he went in as a skeptic, and he said during the night he heard what sounded like footsteps walking in circles around the tent.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, so I would love to see it during the day. At night, not so much.
No, I feel like there has to be some geological explanation for it, but
people wonder if there wasn't like some chemical company that would dump its stuff there,
Oh.
and that's
in a perfect circle. Is it a
yeah.
perfect
That's
circle?
what's weird is
though?
that it's a perfect circle. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Moon-Eyed People. This comes from an
Moon-Eyed people.
AppalachiaMemories.org article called, quote, "The Moon-Eyed People of Cherokee Legend, Mysteries of the Smoky Mountains."
I've never heard of this.
It's short. Tucked away in the heart of Appalachia, the Smoky Mountains have long been home to stories passed down. Like the Smoky Mountains show up so much in this stuff. It's weird. The Smoky Mountains have long been home to stories passed down through generations, and one of the most intriguing is that of the Moon-Eyed People. According to Cherokee legend, these mysterious figures lived in the mountains long before the Cherokee themselves arrived. Described as small, pale-skinned, bearded men, the Moon-Eyed People have stirred curiosity for centuries. The name Moon-Eyed comes from their supposed sensitivity to light. They were said to only come out at night, and this almost sounds like what was on Hellier in the first season with these weird little creatures that would
goblins,
come out.
whatever.
Yep. They were said to only come out at night as daylight was too harsh for their eyes. In the dark, they roamed the mountains freely, retreating into the shadows of caves during the day. The idea of their nocturnal lifestyle adds an eerie charm to the mystery. Who were these people that lived in the remote wilderness so different from the Cherokee? Legend has it that the Cherokee eventually drove out the Moon-Eyed People. After a fierce battle, the small, bearded men fled, disappearing deep into the caves and the recesses of the mountains. Some say they vanished entirely, while others believe they continue to this day to live in isolation, unseen by the outside world. There are stories of ancient stone walls and structures, such as the mysterious ruins near Fort Mountain, Georgia, attributed to this strange race. The Cherokee did not view them as spirits or mythical beings. They were flesh and blood, yet their odd appearance and habits set them apart, leaving future generations wondering who they really were. Over the years, various theories have emerged about the true identity of the Moon-Eyed People. Some speculate that they were early European explorers who arrived long before Columbus set sail, possibly remnants of Welsh settlers who, according to one theory, arrived in the Americas in the 12th century. This idea stems from the legend of Prince Madoc, a Welsh prince said to have sailed across the Atlantic with a group of followers. Others suggest that the Moon-Eyed People could have been an entirely different group of indigenous people who had distinctly different physical traits and customs. Without written records or archaeological evidence, the mystery remains unsolved. Whether these stories are based in fact or fiction, they remain a rich part of Appalachian folklore. For those of us who grew up in these mountains, the legends of the Moon-Eyed People add to the magic of this place we call home. The next time you find yourself in the Smokies, walking along the ancient trees and misty hills, remember the small, bearded men who might still be hiding in the shadow, their eyes gazing out under the light of the moon. That's the Moon People. In my teaser picture, like the statue is what the Moon People supposedly look like. So there you go. There is Appalachia. Missing people. The one that I didn't do that I was going to save for the next one, if I was going to do a short story for the season finale, is the Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah.
So I might do that.
Okay.
And then the one that was going to be a side sessions, I think I'll save for next season on the side sessions, but it's wacky. It's a weird story.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, the Flatwoods Monster I think I'll talk about next time because I didn't know how long this was going to get. But I'm weirdly fascinated with Appalachia.
Yeah, me too.
But it also freaks me out.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't because it looks so pretty, but I just have this weird...
It has a stigma.
It does have
For
a stigma
sure.
to it, and it's not...
Which is unfortunate.
It's not the
Right.
You know, it's not the hillbilly
Those
quote,
people
the
exist
quote
everywhere,
hillbilly
actually.
thing. Oh, yeah.
We've got
Have you ever
hillbillies
been-
in
Have you ever been in
Wisconsin, too.
Wisconsin in some of the small towns?
Yeah.
But it's more just like, it has like a weird... It's almost like... Oh my God, what's the place in California that has like a weird aura to it? This is going to drive me crazy. There's a place in California.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm never going to come up with the name.
No, I'm not either. Mount Shasta.
Oh, Mount Shasta,
Yeah, like it has like a
yes.
weird, like a Mount Shasta
People
thing
say
where
a
it
lot
has
of
like an
weird stuff happens
otherworldly
there.
like stuff happens
Yeah.
there. And I could see this place being like a huge portal for stuff to come through because there's so much, and the Smoky Mountains has so much like, so I'm weirdly fascinated.
Such a rich history of like
Yeah.
folklore.
Yeah. But of all, like the disappearances, the Poly Mountain one is the one that stays
Yeah.
with me but it's
Yeah, that's the weird one. to
her
me.
turning around and waving to her friends was
weird.
almost like her saying
Goodbye. Yeah.
But what if it wasn't? You know, what if she was just like, look how fast I ran up here and then she's just gone.
It's just from the what you said in the story, it was all very out of character for her.
Yeah. What's Jim doing up there?
We discovered, I'll show you before we leave. He discovered that under like the fake wood flooring that's in the office, there's this really cool brick pavers or stone pavers maybe, and the book room has a slightly different kind, and we think it looks like the kitchen and the living room both have the same kind. So under all this carpeting and like fake wood flooring, there's these original like stone floors.
Really?
So I think we're gonna they look like pavers, but
see if you can get that.
Yeah, we're gonna uncover all of that instead of putting down new flooring.
Cool.
So I think that is probably what he's
what he's doing. Now. So no, there's Appalachia. It was started out as a missing 4-in-1, and I think Polly Melton was the first one I saw, and they kept talking about Appalachia. So then I ended up going down the Appalachia rabbit hole, and it's just a really...
I'm glad we did an Appalachia episode.
It's a very fascinating place. Like I really want to see the Smoky Mountains. Like Corey, they went there on vacation, and we're up in Klingman's Dome, which is right where they theorized that Trini Gibson was kind of being kept down in that little weird opening under there.
Yeah.
Like the Trini Gibson one, I'm just so obsessed with that story.
So I have a friend who lives in West Virginia. I think the Blue Ridge Mountains go through there too, and she's sent me pictures of hiking through there. It just looks beautiful.
It does, but then when it comes, like I love that one that says like people that live there watch the sun, and when the sun goes down, like something else takes over.
Yeah, and the woods belong to
and
something
else. And the woods belong to something else.
Man, even here in our little 5.5 acres of wooded, walking through there at night is creepy.
I would love to walk your trails at night. I really would. I gotta sometime, like when Rhonda or whatever.
After hunting season.
I'm gonna walk out there now with my brown jacket on and
put some antlers.
Put some antlers to lure the deer out. No, I'd love to see that. Like I wish I lived on I think about that when I drive past these farms that have this little woods of their own. Like I would love that. I would love that.
The trails, it's probably less than a 10-minute walk, but it's still just fun.
Has Jim gone out there yet with the metal detector and looked for anything?
No, not recently.
No. Maybe like an Oak Island treasure.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
I think you'll find mostly rocks around here. It's very rocky. We have huge boulders
I saw the quarry you were
property.
talking about.
Oh yeah,
when I
of
went
them.
Home. Yeah.
There's
a lot of quarries out here. But yeah, so that's what I got. I thought it was fun. Like I said, at this time in the season, I'm just drained.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll do Flatwoods Monster for the next one.
Okay.
I don't know what Corey's going to do. He says it's not paranormal, but he said it's really interesting.
Okay, cool. He always comes up with something
good. He does. He always comes up with something good. And then remember, send questions.
Yes,
I will
questions.
Put the email. I think it's the Strange Sessions questions. I'll put the email address in the group when this episode,
and then I'll post it
after
on
this
Instagram.
episode goes out. And send your questions, anything you want us to answer within reason. Make them rated PG-13 at least. And I think that's what we got. This is the penultimate episode for this season. We have one more episode, and then one more season of 20 episodes coming up.
Yeah.
You guys are going to pick 10 of them. I'm really curious to see what they hit. Mm-hmm. We've never talked about Nostradamus, but that just seems so blah to me. Like,
how many episodes do we normally do per season?
I think like 23.
Okay.
Like this season, we started so late, I think that's what we're going to kind of do. I like the idea of just having it limited to 20 episodes, so we know we can plan like breaks in there, because you always like to take a break around your birthday and stuff. And I think that's a good idea. I love the idea of them doing 10 of the episodes, the trivia contest winner picking the season opener, the season finale, and Christmas episode. So what it looks like is that we'll do just like this, we'll have the season finale, a Christmas episode, and then we'll have our final episode on that day in May that marks 10 years.
Yeah, to the day.
Which is so weird to think we've been doing this for a decade.
Did we release it on that day?
It was released on that day. I don't know what day we recorded it. I wonder if I can find out.
Did you check the calendar to see what day of the week that is?
I figure we'll record it earlier.
Okay, and we'll release it on that day.
But that'll be 10 years to the day of our first one back at the old school.
And then after that, we'll start releasing the side sessions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll figure out what phase 2 of the Strange. Like if I do a podcast with Corey or Aaron or some combination of that, it won't be the Strange Sessions. Strange Sessions will stay you and I. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we're going to do something, like I want to do like a hellier deep dive on something,
love
but
that.
I wish Elsings was still there, that we could do a deep dive on that place.
Or like we had access to JFK prep or something.
Yeah. Like I would love to do like a documentary style deep dive on something. And I've gotten really fascinated. Like I want to do the dice living thing where I do that. You
got a lot of time to think
I've
about
really
it.
jumped onto what I think Hellier 3 is going to be a lot about, with the idea that all this stuff is interconnected and it's electromagnetic in nature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I was listening to something about Bigfoot. Was it the Paranormal Podcast, where they're saying that, the person that was talking believes what I believe, that like Bigfoot is real, but it's able to phase in and out, which is why there's no evidence of it. And that's what UFOs are. That's what ghosts are. It's things that are able, and that this parallel dimension or whatever these come from, like the barrier between us and them is weakening, and that more weird stuff is able to come through, which is what mimics kind of are.
Yeah.
I know. Black-eyed kids are like yesterday's news.
Totally.
Like, whatever you want to buy a soda. Here you go.
I've heard all the black-eyed kids stories.
But mimics now are my creepy thing. So,
same, yeah.
Yep. But remind me to tell you what that.
Oh yeah.
About that story.
Work? Okay.
Sorry, listeners. It's a privacy thing. So I think that's it for this episode. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with Corey for this. Corey's really excited to see your house too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
He said he's got a picture in his head of what the area, what it looks like.
It's probably totally different.
It is. It is. It's going to be different, but I love your house. I'm so glad you guys moved here. Really, really, really. So I think that's it from Krista and I. Any parting words for this second last episode of the season?
I'm probably going to even be more tired by the time that comes around.
What? Oh, the season finale?
Yeah, just because go live for this project I've been working on for years, December 14th, and it's like it's crunch time now.
Corey's doing. I think Corey and I are doing a story. We're going to have you do like 3 or 4 stories.
Oh, okay.
In your spare time for that.
Like when I'm sleeping?
Yeah, when you're sleeping. But I think that's it. So I want more of that ramen. I got to buy more. I'm going to go stop.
Delicious.
I'm going to go to the Walmart right after this. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
Should I look at how much sodium is in this thing?
Probably a bit.
1,170 milligrams.
I have friends that add salt to their ramen.
When my gosh! What?
That's like a death wish.
Insane.
Yeah, it is insane. Like
it's like adding caffeine to a
I've been
Monster
thinking about
energy
this
drink.
ever since I came here. When Jim makes it, he takes the broth out, but when I make it at home, I drink the broth.
Yeah,
And
I'm always a no broth ramen
That's like a
girl.
pure shot of salt water, basically. It's like, should I not be drinking the broth? But it's
I know true ramen comes in a broth, but I've just always liked the noodles.
Yeah. Aaron and I, when he came up, we went to that new sushi place in Manitowoc, and oh my God, it is so good.
I've never had actual true ramen.
This picture. This is, Aaron sent me this when him and his family ate there. These are the onion rings. Hang on.
Have you been following the AI Atlas thing
Those things in the middle
are
are
my gosh.
Onion rings. It's like the size of the plate. You get 2 onion rings, but it's like...
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are ginormous.
So it's crazy. Have you been following what?
AI Atlas.
What's that?
That's that.
Oh, that thing?
Alleged
I keep
comet.
hearing, like, everything I hear is about this Avi Loeb guy that is saying it's a craft. But then other people are saying it's not, but then other people are saying the government is covering up that this is like that. What was that one with the Hawaiian name that I was actually going to do an episode about? It was going to be a mini mystery. It was through a couple of years ago when it came through that everybody said it was like had really odd characteristics to it. Like it was a craft coming in and checking us out and then going, and that's what people are saying that this thing is.
It's not a typical comet composition and behavior, and I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know who to believe. I mean, I don't know anything about anything. So.
All the memes that are saying at this point, if they come in, it's not an invasion. It's more like a rescue mission that we're so screwed on this planet that they're here to save us.
I keep hearing the term ancient, that whatever it is ancient, but isn't that anything that's floating through space?
I listened to the Jim Harold.
Oh, Jim Harold, man, he's been around for so long.
I downloaded one of the latest episodes of his paranormal podcast because it was about the Boogosphere. And the guy he had on was saying some really crazily interesting things that, one of the things that the guy said, probably nobody's even listening at this point anymore of the podcast, but one of the things that really fascinated me that this guy said, he said that there's a group that is able, the Skywatchers, I think, that they can go out and they can summon alien craft to come through meditation. And what really like fascinated me when I was driving listening to this, he said back in the day, they were recruiting people that had this potential to draw in, to summon these. He said they used to recruit kids. And I said, that almost sounds like the gifted and talented. And then he went on to say they recruited them through the gifted and talented, which was weird because that almost sounds plausible.
Yeah.
That's why they were testing them for the psychic, like that Reddit subreddit for gifted and talented that came out after our episode started. Like there's a lot of people writing kind of crazy things about the tag, the gifted and talented education stuff that we did the episode about. That's another thing I'd like to do a deep dive on after we're done with the podcast. But the Boogosphere is like way more interesting than I think it is. And I think the Boogosphere is like a later version of the Betsphere, that it's a probe or like like we send out drones, that this is an alien whatever sending out drones, and that's what this thing is. So it's really, but then there was a thing on Reddit this week where this guy posted this thing that he found this, it almost looked like the Boogosphere, but then he disappeared and it turned into this huge thing where people were doxing him, and he lives in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
And he came out and said that this thing was a hoax, that his video was nothing, but then people are saying he's being forced.
Oh.
So there's this huge battle going on right now about people who think this was a thing and people who say it obviously wasn't a thing.
Ooh, I've never
but
heard
this
of this.
is the point where we are now in reality, where
Yeah.
it's so easy to do something like that and sucker
yeah.
people in.
Yeah.
You know, so it's crazy. But anyway, we're digressing here. We should have ended about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, that's good.
But thank you guys so much for listening. We love you, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with the season 9
That's wild.
finale. Corey will be joining us, bringing his usual Corey-ness to the podcast, which
Always
we love.
welcome, yes.
Which we love. So from Krista and I, until next time,
Stay
stay strange.
strange.